an incredibly successful post-classic racer, enduro rider and road racer. She also actively works on getting more women riding both on the road and on the tracks. I got to meet up with Stacey on race day to see how she got to where she is today.
I'm Stacey Heaney from Stacey Heaney Racing, and I've been riding and racing motorbikes 26 years. So I grew up in a bike racing family. My dad's a bit of a bike collector. He introduced me to classic scrambles from a very young age, as well as my younger brother and older sister both race as well. Mum used to ride at a farm when she was younger. When we were growing up, she always had a road bike around. But she's very much the moto mum in the background for us. In my family, it was either you started riding by 4 years old or you're adopted, so. My very first bike when I was 4 years old was a JR50. And I used to get a lot of trouble from my dad because I learned how to adjust his governor screw. So I loved it flat out and it was terrible at handling it. So I always crashed into the backyard fence, but it was how I learned to ride. So when I was maybe about 7 years old, I started racing an XR75 and moved into the SR125. The club I was racing with didn't allow you to race till you're 12 years old. And I actually used my sister's racing license for a little bit just to get in and have a go. But that's how my passion started for historic racing. I find historics are a very relaxed environment. Everyone is passionate about the machine. They don't want to go out there and just destroy the machine. So everyone's looking after each other to get to the finish line, rather than in the moderns it can be a lot of, I just want to win, I want to get there first. I don't care if my bike blows up. So I find we're passionate, we're helpful. If you lose a part, someone else in the pits will be like, yeah, I've got one of these, here you go. And you look at it and you go, this hasn't been made for 20 years. And yeah, don't worry about it. They're such a friendly, passionate group. The very first time I ever had a road race, I launched off the very famous crash corner at Broadford, and it looked like the bike exploded. There was a bit of a tank over here, there was a bit of a wheel over here, and everyone thought, that's it, she's never getting on a road bike again. And then 2 weeks later, I competed in my first road race event, racing up Mount Tarrangower, and actually won my class. Recently, I was actually the first female to complete and finish the Australian 3-day vintage enduro. I competed on a little XR200 up against these big enduro machines, 3 days through the forest of Blackwood, and came out with this title that no one can ever take. So it's one of my proud moments in racing, is being one of the firsts. I would say start racing. You'll find yourself so much more confident and able on the street than you are normally, because you know how your bike will react if you hit the brakes heavy. You know how your bike reacts if you get in a slide, and you won't panic, freak out and run it off the road. I would recommend coming out to a race day, talking to various members, and just do some research behind it. How do I get a race license? How do I join a club? Most of it can be done all online now. If you go to Motorcycling Australia, there's some really good pages there of how do I get started. So it's easy, it's just daunting to take that first step. I'm racing a 1972 XS650. It's been heavily modified by the XS Club Australia. The frame, the motor, it's all based on what the XS is, and they've just modified it to make it safer for racing, so making the frame a bit stronger and making the wheels a bit stronger, the braking a bit better. Like any new race bike, it takes years and years and years of development to finally get a race ready and race winning machine. My second bike, Black Beauty, is a CBR 250. I've had the little CBR again for the last 7 years, about the same time I started racing the XS. I got the 250 as a way to learn the craft, learn proper cornering techniques at the different tracks we're going to. We found we were racing a lot of circuits like here in Sydney and Phillip Island at a high speed, and a lot of strain on the old motors that I usually race, so the stoic little CBR gets the job done and you get to have a lot of fun. I've got a mixture of old and new. My historic bikes, I've got a 1954 BSA 350, a B31. That one my dad and I found just in a box of crates, and through help of club members and friends we built it back to the racer it was back in the 70s, and I was very lucky to meet the widow who owned that bike and show me all the photos with the last owner and how he raced it through the 70s. So it's got a lot of history in that machine, as well as I've got a CB750 Honda 4 1971. That one I was lucky enough to become the first female to win Mount Tarrangower on. The running joke was I used to race it with really old crappy tyres, and everyone goes, that's the bike with the tyres that was meant to be wrapped around a lemon tree. But you just race with what you had and what you could afford. And then in my modern side of things, I've got a CRF 250 I do a bit of dirt track with. I just bought a CRF 450 for fun and a Sherco 300 for when I'm out bush. They breed, be careful, they breed. It's very handy, so he taught me all the basics to begin with, and basically how to work my own bikes and be very independent. And it's very handy when days like today when things go pear-shaped, you've got a second pair of hands to help work on the bike with you and keep you going. My dad, I think, has realised that he's a lot older and not as fast as he used to be, and I think he's quite proud that his daughter's up at the pointy end now and he gets to watch from the back and enjoy. So we went over for the Burt Munro Festival. That, if anyone's had a thought of going over to do it, A, race it, and B, just go and spectate. It was probably one of my best life experiences I've had as a competitor. The bluff, the hill climb there, so I'm very passionate about my hill climbs, and the hill climb there was just terrifyingly exciting and all the emotions in one day. I got fourth on that one, just missed out on third. So we sort of went over there hoping to do really well, because I became the first female with Tarrangower to win ever here, and so everyone thought go over there and steal their title. So we tried, but maybe we'll go back and get it next time. I feel strong and powerful. For me, my racing is a way to relax and leave my work life behind and clear my mind. So when I'm on a race bike, nothing else I'm thinking about it's just what that corner is in front of me or what that rider's doing over there. So for me, it's almost like a zen. If you are interested in getting involved with racing and riding, check out some of my socials, Stacey Racing. You can see some of the ways to get involved, particularly with the women's track days. Just have a go, get out there. I'm trying to build a girl army. It's hard when no one's coming, so.
Thanks so much for watching. If you want to see some more post-classic racing, check out Nathan's story over here. Or if you want to see some historic bikes, click this playlist.